That sound doesn't sound very good, and coupled with this image on my dashboard, I should probably change my brakes. Okay, first things first, chock the wheels, grab your floor jack, and use jack stands so that your rig doesn't fall on you. And take off your brake fluid cap. Grab an impact wrench with a 19mm socket and loosen the lug bolts. After that, jack up the tire so that it can freely spin. Then remove all of the lug bolts. After removing the tire, you'll see the rotor and the brake caliper. As you can see with mine, my rotor is really worn down. Take off the electrical wire keeper by unclipping it. Then take off the dust caps to the caliper slide pins. To unscrew these, you'll need a 6mm Allen key. If you have a socket version of this, it'll be a lot easier. Unscrew both pins and take the brake caliper off the rotor. Now, let's take off the brake pads. There are 2 bolts that are 21mm that you have to undo. Use a 1/2-inch socket wrench with the 21mm socket, then slide your pads and bracket off the rotor. Next, use a T27 Torx bit to take off the bolt that screws the rotor to the axle. Then remove the rotor. Wire brush any rust off the axle that comes in contact with your rotor. Time to install your new rotor. Look at the difference between the old and the new. Crazy. When you install the new rotor, make sure to line up the small bolt hole. Grab your T27 Torx bit and secure the bolt. Then clean off the rotor with brake cleaner. Okay, let's put together your brake pads. We're installing new clips, so make sure to clean it off with brake cleaner. Here is your brake pads. We need to lubricate the ends of the pads so we don't have any squeaky brakes. Slide the brake pads back onto the clips. After that, we will install a new sensor. Just snap it on to the outside pad. Next, make sure to bend all of the clips down on all sides of your brake pads. Before we put everything back together, we need this brake caliper press tool. Just get this and you'll thank me later. Now, let's replace the bushings and grease up the slide pins. Pull the pin and the bushings off. Grease both pins, slide the new bushings over the end, retract the pin halfway out of the bushing, and seat the bushing into its hole. This is going to take a little bit of finesse. Now, place the brake pads on the rotor and line up the bolt holes. Grab your bolts and hand thread them back on. Then, tighten with your 21mm socket wrench. Replace the caliper, keeping in mind the sensor. Feed your sensor cable through the calipers and attach it to the inlet. Grab your 6mm bolts and hand tighten them to the calipers. Tighten them with your 6mm Allen key. Replace your dust caps. And then don't forget to replace your electrical collection clip. Lastly, place your tire back on by lining up your lug bolt holes. Hand tighten all lug bolts to keep the tire in place. Next, slowly drop your rig back onto the tire. Then grab your impact wrench with your 19mm socket and tighten down to 177 pound-feet of torque for a 16-inch wheel. That's my specs. Please check your own. One last thing to do is put your brake fluid reservoir cap on. Okay, now let's go through your burn-in process and you're all done. Okay, so I have to burn my brakes in. I have to do 5 times of 40 miles an hour all the way down to 10 miles an hour, and then I have to do 5 more times of a moderate deceleration, and that's going to be from 35 miles an hour to 5 miles an hour. Then I have to let my brakes cool for 5 minutes, and then my burn-in period is over. Okay, the burn-in process is over. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. We do this all the time. We also do a ton of product reviews. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.